Welcome to Social Civics, a channel where we break down the ideas, systems, and institutions that shape our civic life. Today, we're going to walk through a key part of the Project 2025 plan, specifically the chapter that's all about the Executive Office of the President. So let's start with a really big question. How does one person, the president, actually manage to direct the huge, sprawling executive branch of the U.S. government? It's a massive undertaking, and the document we're looking at today offers a very specific game plan for how to do it. Right at the beginning, the chapter lays out what it sees as a major problem. It argues that any new president walks into office and is immediately up against this massive federal bureaucracy that, well, doesn't always want to go in the same direction. And it gets pretty specific about these concerns. The document talks about a sprawling federal bureaucracy that it says has its own agenda. It mentions career civil servants who are hard to hold accountable, and it even raises the concern that agencies can be weaponized against the public. On top of that, it says Congress has handed off way too much of its own lawmaking power to these agencies. And you can really feel the sense of urgency in the language here. This isn't gentle suggestion. The chapter calls the situation constitutionally dire and claims that the very survival of self-governance in America is at stake. This framing really sets the stage for why it proposes such major changes. Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution presented in the chapter? Well, it all centers on using an existing part of the government in a much more aggressive way, the Executive Office of the President, or what's known as the EOP. So what exactly is the EOP? Think of it as the president's immediate support team, a bunch of offices that help run the government day to day. It's kind of like the central headquarters for a giant corporation. But according to this chapter, the EOP is more than just a support staff. It holds the levers necessary for a president to really take control and steer the entire federal bureaucracy. And this whole approach is built on one core idea, that federal agencies shouldn't be off doing their own thing. The document's position is that their one and only job is to carry out the agenda of the president, the person who was elected by the voters. All right, so let's peek inside this EOP. The chapter breaks down the specific offices it sees as the most powerful tools a president can use to make things happen. The first one up, and you could argue the most powerful, is the Office of Management and Budget, or OMB. The chapter really paints the OMB as the command center for a president's control over the whole government. The chapter uses a really great analogy for this. It calls the OMB an air traffic control system for government policy. Its job is to make sure every single government initiative from every single agency is all flying in perfect formation, headed in the direction the president wants. So how does it do that? The chapter points to 4 key powers. First, the OMB controls the budget, which is a huge deal. It decides who gets money to do what. It also manages how well agencies and people are performing. Critically, it gets to review all new federal regulations before they go out, and it even gets to approve what agencies say to Congress. Now, the OMB is a huge piece of the puzzle, but the chapter also points to other important policy councils. You've got the National Security Council, which is the main hub for foreign policy and defense, and the National Economic Council, which does the same thing for everything related to the economy. And yeah, the list keeps going. The document also mentions the Council of Economic Advisors, the Office of Science and Technology Policy, and it even points to the Office of the Vice President as another important tool a president can use to push their agenda forward. Okay, so when you zoom out and look at all these different offices working together, the document describes a really clear top-down chain of command. It's a blueprint for how a president can take their vision and turn it into direct government action. It's laid out as a pretty straightforward flow of power. Step 1, the president decides on the policy agenda. Step 2, the EOP, with the OMB leading the charge, uses all its tools, budget, regulations, management, to give clear orders to the federal agencies. And step 3, the agencies carry out that agenda. The chapter describes this as the way to bend or break the bureaucracy to the presidential will. And what's the reason given for this kind of top-down control? It all comes back to a single idea: democratic accountability. The argument is that because the people elect the president, the entire executive branch owes its allegiance to that president. It's presented as the way the will of the voters gets done. Just so you know, all the information we're talking about here comes directly from that Project 2025 document, Mandate for Leadership, and specifically from the chapter on the Executive Office of the President. So if there's one big idea to take away from this chapter, it's this. The plan isn't about inventing a bunch of new government agencies. It's about taking the offices that already exist right there in the White House, especially the OMB, and using them in a much more forceful, centralized way to directly control what the entire federal government does. And that really leaves us with a fundamental question to think about. This chapter lays out one very clear vision for how government should operate, but it also highlights a core tension in our system. What is the right balance between the political agenda of an elected president and the independent and often specialized expertise of the people who work in federal agencies? If you're interested in learning more about the ideas and institutions that shape our civic life, consider subscribing to Social Civics. This channel exists to help everyday citizens better understand the systems we all live under. Thanks for watching.